Hello, you're welcome back to my channel. Yes, I'm telling you welcome back. If you have followed me in the previous video where we drafted this pattern, and if you haven't watched it, you are still welcome. Welcome. So if you haven't watched the video where we drafted this pattern, I'll be leaving the link in the description box, okay, so you can check it out. So today we want to transfer this pattern on our fabric and cut. This is our corset bustier with yoke, okay. So we're transferring on our fabric today, and we would cut, we would stitch. So you are welcome. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so. Hit on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you would not miss out on any upload. Okay, we have a lot on this channel and we still have a lot coming up, which I know you would not want to miss. So join the wonderful family. Yes, join this wonderful family. Don't stay outside the door. Come in. You are welcome. Thank you for doing that. So these are my fabric. I'll be cutting the main corset on this African print, and I'll be cutting the yoke on this satin fabric, which after stitching we'll be decorating it. Yes, we'll be embellishing it. Okay, so let's get started. I will start with the front pattern. So like I said, if you haven't watched it, please do watch it. Just click on the arrow pointing down. Okay, you see an arrow pointing down. Click on it. It will take you to the description box so that you can watch how I made this pattern. I will leave the link there. So now I will place my fabric on fold. So you just place your fabric on fold. Okay, so you have to place it on fold, and you would place your center front. I'll start with the center front. Now, you'll be adding ½ inch allowance all round. Though when I was drafting the pattern, I added allowance at this lower part, but I would still add. So the essence of adding allowance every all round is so that you will not make any mistake. By the time you are done stitching, you can take the actual length you want and you trim. Okay, so it's better to have excess than to have shortage. That is just my statement all the time. When you have excess, you can trim am, but when you have shortage, you will now be so worried and thinking of how you make it up. So when you're placing your pattern, this is the center front. Make sure your fabric is on fold, then you add ½ inch. What you do, just mark ½ inch all around like so. Mark ½ inch. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that, and this is how you place your ½ inch. So for your fabric to just stay in place, you can pin it down because you don't want it moving around. You don't want it moving when you are marking, so that you don't make mistake. You can just pin it down. You can also use paper tape to hold it. Okay, that is to tape it down. So you just place it at the edge like so. You pin it down. Okay, so that everything can just be nice when you cut. So make sure it is lying well. Pin. Okay, so this is it. So always work with your pin. Good. So by the time you have it staying in place, you then add your ½ inch. So from this top now, you mark ½ inch. So you're adding ½ inch here. Okay, so I'm just extending the line so that by the time I mark ½ inch here as well, I can just connect everything. So this is ½ inch here. So you can see how it's going. Okay, so just mark your ½ inch. I'm just showing you an example how to do that. So you come at every point of the pattern, you just mark ½ inch. So this is what you're going to do to the other parts too. Okay, so you can see how I'm doing it. Then you also come here, you mark ½ inch. So by the time you just mark your ½ inch, you then connect. I'm also adding at the lower part, though I have added what I need to join my top to the lower part, but I'm still adding. because sometimes in the process of stitching, mostly when you're making bustier, you usually have unevenness. So good to have excess and you trim out than not to have enough. So just connect all the points you have marked. Connect them like so. So here we need curve. So just connect it where it is curved. Okay? So this will go up. So I hope you can see this now. Hope you can see the mark. So that is it. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. Okay? So can you see this? Okay? So it is clear now. You can see all the allowance. So keep this aside. And to cut the center, the side. This is the side, okay? So you still place your fabric on fold and you do the same thing I have done and you cut, okay? Now for the side, so I just want to label this thing so that it will be clear for you. I mean to you, this is the center front, okay? And this is the side front, so you understand. You know, this is the side, this is the center. So to cut the side, this is what you do. You need ½ inch on this side. Let me place the two together so you will see them. This ½ inch you added to this side. You also need it on this side to join these two. Then on this other side, you need your seam allowance, your side seam allowance to join to the back. So the side seam allowance I'll be placing here will be 2 inches. Okay? Here will be ½ inch. But on this side, it will be 2 inches. Okay? So just like this one, this side will be ½ inch, all this side and the top will be ½ inch. The lower side will be ½ inch, but this side is 2 inches. So, but you can take whatever you want from 1 inch, 1.5 to 2 inches. Okay, but I want 2 inches. So now I'll just place it. So when you're folding your fabric, you bear in mind the allowance you'll be placing. Okay? So I just marked out straight line here where I'll be cutting out my center front from. Okay? Why from this line now I measured ½ inch and this is the ½ inch. So you can actually do this the way you want. Okay, I'm just like explaining it. So it's from this ½ inch now I would place my center front, making sure I have up to ½ inch at this top. Okay, so by the time I cut it out, I will have my ½ inch allowance here, and that is it. Okay, so I'll pin it down. So make sure it is lying flat and you pin it down. Okay, so by the time you have pinned it down, you then add your ½ inch at this top. You measure your ½ inch. Okay. Then remember I said on this side, what we need is 2 inches. That is 2 inches for our side seam allowance. So you measure 2 inches or whatever you're using as your allowance, you measure it here. So let me connect it. Okay, hope you can see the mark. So now you connect this one. Then on this side too, you're adding half inch, remember. So you're coming out by half inch. There it is. Connect it up. So just take half inch from every point of the curve. So it doesn't matter how I'm placing my tape. All I'm taking is just half inch, okay? So you connect. So you can see this. Then at this lower part, I'm adding half inch as well. So I'm just taking all these steps because I've got questions from my previous videos. How did you add the allowance? So that's why I'm showing you all these parts. I would have just done it behind camera and just show you the outcome. I'm showing you how to place your allowance, okay? So now I would cut it out so you see what we have there, okay? So you see that initial line I placed, like I said, it's just a place to just cut out this so that you can have your center front as two pieces, okay? So that is just the essence of doing that. And you have this, okay? This is my center and the side front. So don't forget you're also cutting out like so. So this is just it. Okay, this is it and this is the other side. So you can see we'll join it here, okay, and we'll have this. Okay, so now to the cup. You also place your fabric on fold. So now we'll be having two of these and two of these. Okay, so you place your fabric on fold. And one more thing, don't forget, before removing your pattern, notch the bust point or note it. You just have to take note of where you have the bust point, and you can even notch the under bust point. All these marks you have, just note them on your fabric, okay? So we'll get to that. Let's just fold and cut the cups. So for the cup parts, to cut our cup parts, we need to also add allowances, okay? So on this side, you can see this is how it should be. On this side, you add half inch. On the top side, half inch. On this side, half inch. But on this side, I'll be adding 1 inch. Remember that this is where we took off the darts. Okay, we took off the dart from here. So I will add 1 inch on this side, half inch for joining the curves, and the remaining half inch to make up for the darts we took off. Okay, I know that we took away 1 inch dart. Ordinarily we're supposed to add half inch all around the cup, but sometimes some people complain that when they do it that way, the cup end up becoming small. So what you do is you add 1 inch, okay? So you use 1 inch on this side. So let me just do that. So you can see what we have here, okay? So this is it. Now make sure you notch this point. This is your bust point, right? Just mark it across and you notch it. So this will help you to connect it to the bodice. So I'll keep this and I'll cut the other one. Still, you place your fabric on fold. So same with this one, just like we did for this one. You add half inch on this side and 1 inch on this other side. Okay, so let me place it in such a way that I'll have enough space. So yes, like so. 1 inch on this side and ½ inch on this other side. So that's how you cut for this one as well. So let me measure to see if I have 1 inch here. So that's okay. What I'll do now is to pin it down so it to not move around while I'm cutting, to not be moving. So the same thing, I would mark and cut, okay? So here it is, okay? I've also notched the bust point for this other side and we have it like so, okay? So let me just place it together with this one. So this is the center front, okay? And these are the sides. Let me turn it to the wrong side. These are the sides. So now we place it. A is by the center front. So you see why you need to notch. I also notched this one. So you match it. This by the time you match it, you see it aligning. Then B is by the side. Okay, you can see. So this is how it should be. This is how it should be. Okay, so by the time you sew in the allowance, you have it fitting in. Now, one more thing you need to take note of. You need to mark. Okay, this is the wrong side. Let me remove my paper. This is the wrong side. Okay, I've marked this one so that you know how to arrange it. When you're arranging it, you use your paper. Since the body is facing the wrong side, so you place it like this. Wrong side, wrong side. Why this one also have to turn? This is A, wrong side, wrong side. So you can mark it that this is A. Though the shapes are different, you know by the shapes, but you can still mark. This is B, this one here is A, and this is B, okay? So A is by the center front, while B is by the side. So that's how you arrange it. So this is very important. Notch it, notch your bust point. It will help you when you're sewing to be able to connect, okay? And you can see, even by this side, when you join it, following the notch, it will also align, okay? It will also align. This is where I notched. So having done this now, we would cut the wording. So we'll cut the wording. And the wording, first of all, I would use the cup pattern to cut the wording. Then I'll trim off the top parts. So let me just do that so you understand what I mean. So always label your pattern so that you know which one to place where you're supposed to place, okay? This is the wrong side of my pattern. So now I'll cut the wording. So I'm using hard wording. This is a hard one. Okay, so what I'll do is to place my pattern on it. So this is the fusible side, which you take to be the wrong side, because this is the side that will be gummed to the other side of the, to the wrong side of the pattern, okay? So I'll fold my fabric, okay, my wording, and I'll cut out. So this, I'll just cut out the exact pattern, but later I'll trim out the top of the wording, okay? So because I don't want it getting in the way when I'm sewing the lining. So I'll just take away ½ inch from the top, okay? So what I'll do is just to fold this one by ½ inch. just fold this one by 1/2 inch, and that is where the wording will get to. So just be careful. Okay, so this is it for this. Okay, so now also notch the midpoint. Let's mark the midpoint, the bust point. Mark the bust point on your wording as well. It will help you align when you're sewing. Okay, so that is it. So you get it now. So remember, this visible side is the wrong side. That is where you match up to the wrong side of your fabric. So you place your cup pattern to the wrong side and you match it up like so. Okay, you match it up. So this is how it's going to be. So let me still reduce the top. Let me still reduce it a bit. So I have it here. Remember, I marked the midpoint. So I have it there. This one. This is how it will be, okay? And we are done with this. So you can still just mark what you have there, so I don't mess it up. Then for this one, I'll do the same thing, okay? So you can see the other one, I've also trimmed out the top, okay? So this is it. Let me still reduce it. So this is okay. So haven't gotten it like this. Let me just assemble everything and then show you how it should go. So I'll just take away the wording first. So you need to arrange it the way it should be, okay? This is A, and A is at the center, while B is at the side. Then you also bring your A, so you bring the other one, so you arrange it, okay? So you have to be careful when you're doing this. You can use your pattern, okay? This is it like so. Then when it's coming over to this side, it's turning this way, and you have it. I hope this is clear. So to our wording now, you take your wording, you place it accordingly. This is the wrong side, that should be on the wrong side of our fabric, so it's going this way like so. This one is going with this one. This one is going with this one, okay? While this one is going with this one, and this one is going with this one like so. So I'll just pin it down so I can see what we have here. You can also align your wording. You can align it so that the both of them will be on the same levels, okay? So what you do is just to mark it. Mark it, but before that, just align it at the bust point first, okay? I have marker on my hand. So you just place it bust point to bust point. You also take this one, match it up bust point to bust point together with the wording. So I'll be using my pin to hold it. Okay, so I see exactly what we have there. So I'm just trying to match it up. Then I'll hold it to the pin. So you can align your wording. So let me just trim out this one. have it there. So this is what I have after joining it with my pin. Okay, so you open it and this is it. So remember, it is just pin, then it is not aligning here because of the allowance we took. Okay, now you stitch this one, you just fix it. Okay, you sew by ½ inch here and you sew by ½ inch here, and you have your cup. Okay, so it will look better when I sew it, but that is just the idea I'm giving you. So I'll just go ahead and sew it. If you want to make use of already made cup, you can do that. What you do is just stitch only the fabric. By the time you're done stitching your fabric, then you fix your already made cup. So I'll be making a video on that, how to use your already made cup for your corset. Okay, so expect that video. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get notification when I upload that video. Okay, so I'll just go ahead now and stitch my cup. So when I stitch it, you will see it, it will be clearer to you. Okay, so I've stitched the cup. So before trimming it, I decided to show you this. Okay, so you can see what I did. Remember, at this side I took 1 inch. Okay, and the reason for doing that is because of the dart. You know, it is the dart that will form the cup. We took the dart so that we can form our bustier, right? So to get it well curved, what I did is, at that bust point, this is my bust point where I notched, I took ½ inch. Okay, while at this top I took 1 inch, and at this side I took 1 inch. Remember the 1 inch for our dart, and that is 1 inch we added while I was cutting the cup, right? So normally we're supposed to stitch by ½ inch, but because I added 1 inch, I'm taking away that 1 inch here and that 1 inch here. So here I took ½ inch. So the reason is to create that cup. Okay, so when I took ½ inch here, I connected it to the 1 inch on the top, at the top, and connected it to the 1 inch at this other side, and that gives us the cup, as you can see. Okay, so this is a strategy to use to get a deep cup for your corset. This is it inside. Okay, so right now I decided to show you this before trimming it. So we have to trim out the excess and notch. Okay, so this is just a strategy to get it, because if you have been using ½ inch and you have not been getting a deep cup, so you follow this method. Okay, so this is it for bust 40. This is just good. So right now I would trim out the excess, so I won't trim it so deep, just cut out a little excess, leaving about ½ inch seam allowance there. Okay, because you'll be notching it and open and iron. So this is okay. So the same thing I did at this side. So you see I use pen to mark it so I can follow that curve. So you just do that to get a nice bust cup. Okay, and this is it. Okay, so now I will notch it. So just notch so that you can be able to open it very well. So this is it. You open it up like so. Okay, and we're going to press it. So before you press, you first of all open it up here and you press. So let me show you how to do that.
So you place it on your ironing ball and you would open up the seam like so, and you iron it. Okay, so don't mind my ironing ball. This is just a makeshift ironing ball. My little boy has taken my ironing ball and turned it to his, so I have to make a new one quickly. So this is just what you do. Okay, you place on ironing ball like so, and you open up the seam. Just make sure you open it well and you press it. So we want to have a nice looking cup at the front, so you just make sure you do this. Okay, so I think later on this channel I'll be showing you how to make a real and nice ironing board for your bustiers. So for now, let's just make do with what we have. So all you need is just to open it up like so. Open up the seam. Is quite tricky, but you know, it's simple. Just open it like so and you press it. Okay, so this is what you just have to do. Make sure everything is open.
So you just make sure you iron it open, as you have seen me doing. Just iron it open, okay? So this is it. You can see how open it is now. So by the time you have done this, next thing to do is to turn it to the other side. Okay, just put your ironing board like so, and you turn it to the other side. So make sure it's flat there. Don't mind my ironing board. Just did it quickly now. So you iron on the outside as well, making sure you're opening it well. You want it very open and nice here. Iron. So when you're done ironing, you see how beautiful your cup will look. Okay, see everything well ironed out. So I would do the same thing to the other one, and I'll show you how to fix it on your corset pattern on this other side. So you can see the other parts. I have stitched it. Okay, then I use the fabric I'm using for the yoke to make sort of piping for boning, but I'm not inserting boning. So in case you want to insert boning, just use your fabric, or you can use a bias strip, then you just sew. Okay, and then you sew it there. Just design it the way you want. So this is just okay for me. So I will iron the other cup, then I will show you how to fix it into the space you have here. Okay, so now I have my cups. So these are the two cups. Bear in mind that you have to fix them accordingly. This is A, and A will go to the center front. Okay, even from the shape, you will know the two shapes are not the same. So this one is cup A. So you can also use your pattern. So you can make use of your pattern, okay? The way you cut it. You can see that A is by the side and center front, while B is by the side. So that's how you would also place it after making your cup. Make sure it is placed that way. If you put it the other way around, it will not be nice at all. And like I said earlier, notch your bust points. Okay, notch your bust point. By the time you transfer on your fabric, you see these points that are matching up here. You have to notch on the cup, not on the main fabric, on the other one, so that you match them up when you're stitching. Same with this side. You have to notch here and notch here as well. So I have done that. I notched here. This is my center front. I notched the bust point, and by the side I notched. So that will help me align the cups. Okay, so by the time you have placed it like so, now you will just pin it down. Okay, so let me show you what to do now. You see this mid point, the center front, you would match it up with where you have stitched this one. Okay, so just match it up there. You match it up and you pin it like so. Okay, by the time you have done it, you have matched up the midpoint, then you also take the side and you match it up as well with the bust point, just like I showed you on the pattern. So that's just what to do. So I'm still referring to the pattern to make it clear to you, so I don't just make mistake. Just the way it is, you have to match up this side, and that is what I'm trying to do here. So on this side, this is where I notched for my bust point, and this is where I notched. So I have to match the both of them together. So when you do it that way, you see everything aligning. Okay, so just match it up like so. Then you have to take your wording along. So this is it. Just place it and you match it up. Okay, so by the time you have done that, you just pin it there. Just pin it. You also come to this other side. So you can see I've pinned here, and I would also match up this one with where I notched. So this is where I notched. This is where I notched. Okay. So I would match it up as well with this side, like so. So you pin it there. So by the time you have matched them up, you also see that they are aligning at the top here, just like what you have here. When you match it up, you see that they are aligning here. When you match it up also, you see that they are aligning. So that is what is happening here. So by the time you have pinned these 3 points, the center, here and here, you go ahead and pin the other parts. So you just gradually do that. Just align this side, pin it. So before you go ahead to stitch, make sure you pin. If by the time you pin and you're sure that everything is in place, then you can go ahead and stitch. Okay, so you don't just start stitching like that. You have to make sure that everything is okay. So by the time you pin your cup and everything does not align, you know that you have to make some adjustments, okay, perhaps to the cup. But if you do just like the way I showed you, everything would align. So you can see I have pinned this side and everything is matching up, you can see. So you also come to this other side as well. You align here as well, you pin. So you can just follow one side depending on how you want to sew it, so that when you're sewing, you'll be removing your pin. So let me continue from the outside like so. So just keep fixing it, that is matching it up, the sides and the cup. So you need something you need to do carefully. You know that you're working on curved, on curve. So you need to be careful and do it gently. So I'm just showing you this so that you would see the whole process, okay? And see that everything aligns. So that is it. I've matched up everything and you can see that they align. Okay, so you can see. I didn't do anything behind camera. Everything I did, I showed to you. You can see that they have aligned. So it's just because I'm holding it with pin, that's why it's looking rough. So by the time I stitch, everything would be smooth. Okay, so can you see this? And you can see how copy it is. It has enough room to accommodate the bust. So that is just the trick. So I'll go ahead and fix this one as well. Okay, just the same thing I did here. That's what I'll do here. So this is just it. As far as you have fixed this one correctly, this one too will be correct. So just match it up at the midpoint and you start pinning. Okay, so this is it. After pinning it, this is just holding with pin. I've not stitched. By the time I stitch, you see how beautiful and relaxed it will be. Okay, so and when you're stitching, make sure you stitch by 1/2 inch. I just held it with pin. I didn't measure. When I'm stitching it, I'll make sure I stitch by 1/2 inch. So you stitch by 1/2 inch all round and you have it. So now and let me also show you at once so that I can go ahead and just stitch everything. Let me show you how to stitch the yoke. Okay, so let me just show you how to do that so that I'll do everything at once. Then after stitching the yoke, I'm going to line the yoke. It depends on what you're using as your yoke. It could be lace, you might not be lining it, but you would finish up the neckline either by using bias tape or you just hem it. So for the yoke now, You just fold it the way it was when you cut it, then you notch the midpoint. Okay, so I have the midpoint already notched. So by the time you notch the midpoint, you also have to match it up with the midpoint of this. So I also have my midpoint here. So you just match it up, midpoint to midpoint, like so. Okay, so make sure you're matching it up correctly and you hold it down with your pin. So I love working with pin because it helps you put your fabric in place before you stitch. So by the time you have held down the midpoint, all you need to do is just connect the rest parts with your pin before you stitch. So you have to first of all sew this core before you fix the yoke. Okay, and if you're using lining for your yoke like me, you first of all fix the lining, then you attach the yoke. So this is just how you go about the yoke. Just pin it down and you stitch. So there's nothing so serious about this one. Just place it and you stitch. So you can see how the yoke is staying in place there. So this is how you would join your yoke. Okay, and you have it. So like I said, I use pin, it's pin I used. So if I stitch it, I would have to notch this side so that everything can relax. Okay, so now by the time you have stitched your yoke, you will then use your lining. You use the lining for this side to finish it up. So this is where you stitch the lining so that you have neat work. So I'll go ahead and do everything and show you, okay, to be clearer to you. So let me go ahead and stitch. So I have sewn the yoke to it. So what is left is to give it a good press, okay? And in the inside I have fixed the lining just like I explained to you. So this is it. Okay, this is how I sew the cup by ½ inch. So you can see, then after sewing I notched it. So it is very important you notch so that it will be free. Okay, because after sewing it you see it's like folding here, but by the time you notch it will like release it. Okay, it will just release it. So after sewing the cup, as you can see, I also sew the lining the same way I sew the main fabric. Then I join the yoke, then join the lining from this part, and this is it. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. So have it like this in the inside. Okay, so for the back I have also joined the yoke and the lining as well. So this is the back. Okay, so I've also sewn the darts like I explained to you. I didn't cut the dart. If you followed when I cut the pattern on fabric on a paper, okay, so this is it. I didn't cut the dart, I just sew it. It's a waist dart, so I sewed for the main fabric and I sewed for the lining fabric, and you have it like so. Okay, so what is left now is to join the back and the front at the shoulder. So I'll join at the shoulder by ½ inch. Remember, we took ½ inch for the shoulder seam allowance. By the time I join at the shoulder, I'll then, attach the lower parts. Like I said, it's a gown. Then also join my sleeve. Okay, so I have the sleeve here. So I have a video on how I made this sleeve in case you haven't watched it. I have a video on this channel on how I made the sleeve, so I'll be leaving the link in the description box for you. So I'll be joining the sleeve, so it's a puff and a ruffle sleeve, just like you can see it like so. Okay, so this is how it's going to be. So if you want to know how I made the sleeve, just check the description box. You see the link to the video and you watch it. So I'll go now and couple everything, then I would embellish the yoke. Okay, so I have some flat pails here, so I'm contemplating either using the flat pails to embellish the neckline, I mean the yoke, or use a trimmer, that is lace trimming. So I'll just check whichever one that goes best, that is what I will use. Okay, so I'll just show you the outcome of this corset dress. So I'll show you the complete outfit. Okay,
so here it is, and I hope you love this. So instead of the flat pails, I decided to use lace trimmings, okay? Because fixing the flat pails to cover the whole of this yoke is going to take me some time. And thank God the dress is for my mom. So she didn't give me any particular style to make for her. She just gave me the African print and said I should go ahead and make any style. So I decided to give my mom corset with yoke. And I know it's going to be so beautiful on her. So thank you. And if you love the sleeve, I have a video on how I made the sleeve. Okay, so I'll leave the link in the description box below so I can check it. So you see the arrow pointing down. That is the arrow that leads to the description box. And if you want to support this channel, please check the description box. You see details of the channel account. Okay, thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for everything. Please give this video a like, share it with your friends, and please come back next time. God bless you.